So one of the things we do in history, in looking at Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, is we analyze the text and we evaluate the text. And these are things that traditionally were done in the English language arts classroom. And so when you think about how he started that speech that everybody knows, 7 years ago, why did he use those words? I mean, this is a guy that was very meticulous about the words that he used and spoke in speeches. And so the kids just don't look at the fact that it was made and what it said, but we dig much deeper. Too many times in history, we just look at history as a timeline instead of making it more of a mystery, or why did it happen, or what were the motivations that happened to it. And when you do that deep digging, whether it's in history or reading, the kids come away with a lot more meaning and something that's going to stick to them. And we've all seen the Jay Leno videos, jaywalking, and the kids and the adults don't know their history. Well, why is that? It's because of the way we've taught it. That's why we really need to reflect on how we've been teaching it. And Common Core is a great time and a great tool and a great layout about teaching history with a process and not so much about the content. The content will stick if we change the process and how we teach history. So here's a quick example of what I do in my classroom. If we're studying Civil War, and we'll look at a speech that Abraham Lincoln gave. And I won't even tell them who gave the speech, and I don't even give them the entire speech. I'll just give them like half of the first paragraph. That's the first standard in Common Core, is what does this say explicitly? And then when we look at the rest of the speech, it's a very different message when he's talking about equality for everybody in this country, whether they were a slave or whether they were a free man. And then from there, we go to the second and third standard and the fourth standard, and that's where we start using inferencing skills, start analyzing, start evaluating. And then they start thinking, well, why would he start that way? And why would he end this way? What was going on? And then they start figuring out, we start looking at the context of what was going on. Stephen Douglas was standing next to him. Stephen Douglas wanted to keep the status quo. Stephen Douglas demonized Abraham Lincoln because he wanted to free the slaves. And what was that going to do for the economy of the United States? And then who was the audience? Even though it was in a free state, they were also very suspicious of Lincoln. So you're thinking, wow, this guy was an actual politician, right? And what does that mean? And how does that connect to what's going on today with politicians and what they say and what they do? And so it's a much bigger picture than just, this is what happened in history. We look at it much deeper than what we have in the past.